Hey everybody! In today's video, I'm going to show you 3 very different looks you can get from a 3D embossing folder. I also wanted to show you how you can take what you probably thought were Valentine's products when you bought them and turn them into all year or special occasion products. So I'm using this adorable layering stencil to create a sort of St. Patrick's Day springy card. I think this would be great for Easter, St. Patrick's Day, etc. And really all I'm doing is shifting the color from typical Valentine's colors on this sweet little heart-themed stencil to springy greens. So I'm using several colors of Distress Oxides with this layering stencil on top of the already embossed white cardstock. Now this already looks like shamrocks, the pattern on this, and when you add the ink, it accentuates that pattern in any areas where the ink is. Now I have a tip for you for using these layering stencils. I actually have the first 2 layers that I'm holding together. And the reason for that is it lets me line those hearts that I already stenciled back up with the cardstock. And that gives me this quick getting everything in the right place motion. I might have to adjust it a little bit, but it's a super easy way to do layering stencils is use the previous layer to help you line it up. Super easy. Doesn't matter which order you do the stenciling in. This stencil happens to have 4 layers, so I chose 4 different colors of green. This second layer is Lucky Clover. The first was Evergreen Bough. And what I did was I chose 2 cool greens and 2 warm greens for this operation. And so you'll see contrast back and forth between these 2 layers, and that's just how I like to work with color. I think that it adds a lot of interest. But it's amazing how you can get what essentially is a monochromatic design with 4 different colors of green. So now I will pull this up and I'll show you this trick again of taking the next layer that I haven't used. You can see it says layer 3 at the top, lining it up with the already inked up layer 2. That way it's just visually easy for me to find what I did before. The new layer is on the bottom, so that will stick to the sticky mat, which is the only way to stencil. And then all I have to do is tiny tweaks to get that in the right place. And it just saves me a lot of time with layering stencils. So I hope that this tip helps you a little bit. It definitely helps me get my stenciling done. So the sticky mat is holding both the embossed cardstock and the stencil in place. So now I will use one of my warm greens. This is a beautiful kind of olivey color, again, Distress Oxides. And I'm using my very smallest honeybee blender brush because this layer, the 3rd layer, is very tiny. It's these little tiny details of leaves that go in between some of these smaller elements from the 2nd layer. Little tiny dots sprinkled throughout as well. And again, you can see the embossed pattern sort of stand out on the part where I put ink, and then it's just providing that beautiful texture in the background where it remains white. Now, one of the things that I love about using water reactive ink with these stencils is not really so much the water reactive properties, which I use sometimes when I'm ink blending, but this time I'm not using that. But what I love is how easy it is to just rinse off your stencil and you're ready to go for the next time. That's a great thing about water reactive ink is cleanup is super easy. Now with this 3rd layer, you'll notice where the patterns are near certain elements on the 2nd layer, and that makes it real easy not to miss a few of them. So when I reveal this, you'll see how pretty that warm color looks with the 2 cool colors. It's nice contrast, kind of pops. And then the very last layer is also going to be a warm color. It's Twisted Citron, so it's warmer than the Evergreen Bough and the Lucky Clover. It's not quite as warm, as the third layer, but it also provides that contrast and this nice pop of that super neon green. This is, not ashamed to admit, probably my favorite distress color is Twisted Citron. I know it's a little bit of a horse race with Blueprint Sketch, but this is a phenomenal color and it kind of goes with everything. So this last layer is these kind of ferny looking foliage bits, and it fills in the rest so beautifully and provides little stems for those clusters that you saw that are smaller than the hearts. So I will pull this up and you can see this beautiful springy, perfect for St. Patrick's Day or Easter little combination here. That is my cat, Maddie, in case you can hear that. I'm not going to edit that out. This is real life. Look how beautiful that is. You get the texture, you get the cat meowing, you get 4 different colors of green. This is a perfect spring card and a real departure from Valentine's. So I really urge you to look at those products in a different way. So now I'll put the guard back on my sticky mat, and I will move on to the other 2 looks that you can get from this simple, versatile, what I think looks like Shamrock's embossing folder, 3D embossing folder. I do recommend for the next 2 techniques that you use 3D embossing folders. This is the sentiment set, Best of Everything, that I'm going to be using with all the cards that I will make out of this technique. It's just kind of all year friendship and support type sentiments. And of course it has matching dies, so it's perfect for all of this. Now, I also used black cardstock with this 3D embossing folder. Look how elegant and gorgeous it is just on black, but we're going to make it even fancier with a little bit of gold paint and my gel press. To do this technique, you really need some little handles. You can create those with Post-it notes or Post-it tape, which is what I'm using. And I have my 6x6 inch gel press set up here and some gold paint. Any gold paint will do. You just need a thin layer on the gel press. I think that this is so elegant, black and gold, but you can use any metallic that you like. So once you have a thin layer, use the handles to very gently put the emboss side, the raised side, down onto the gel plate, and then just barely fingertip pressure. Make sure that all areas of the embossed cardstock are touching the plate, and then you just pick up the gold paint on those raised areas. It's so elegant and beautiful. It looks like a metallic tile. The little handles really help you not squish it down into the paint and get paint in the lower areas, which is really important for kind of a neat all over look. And then you can also pick up the pattern that is left behind when you lifted that paint with some more black cardstock, and you have a third look. So actually I'm going to show you 5 different ways. I thought I was just going to show you 3. So you're getting 2 for free, even though you got the first 3 for free as well. Anyway, once that's dry, go ahead and put your little handles on the opposite side, and we're going to have a little American Idol. We're going to see what we like better, the embossed side or the debossed side. I already know the answer because I'm voicing this over, but wait until you see this. We're doing the same thing, barely any pressure at all. This side is flat, so it's going to pick up more paint. And then the area that you see on this side is actually going to be recessed on the other side. So this is going to be completely the opposite of what we're seeing on top right now. So when I flip this over, oh my gosh, look at it. I'm not trying to influence your vote, but that is definitely the best one. I love it. And then we're going to get our 5th pattern by lifting with another piece of black cardstock what is left over after you pick up the deboss side. Now this is what that looks like, completely different, going to be an amazing grungy background. Looks totally different from the other 4. Amazing. Go ahead and vote for this one. I'm trying to influence your vote just shamelessly, but look at that. It looks amazing. They're both beautiful though, honestly. They really are. So these are 5 different ways that you can use a 3D embossing folder, and I kind of think that all 5 are pretty amazing. But when you set these side by side, you can see how radically different these look. You have this bright, happy, springy, textured piece. You have this elegant tile-looking piece, front and back. Those could not be more different, and it's the same product. It's one of the reasons that embossing folders are so very versatile and such a great tool for your little crafty stash. So here are some of the finished cards. I hope you've enjoyed this. Head over to my blog for more information, and thanks so much for watching.